Hey guys, and welcome back to another thrilling episode. And today, I reckon it would be cool to show you all my LEGO construction vehicles. But we all know this is going to be a massive and very long video if I try to show them all off in huge amount of detail. So instead of reviewing each one by one, we're going to talk about what makes these construction vehicles so great, and the downsides to those as well. Now these are only my opinions, so you don't have to agree, but here's what I think about each one of these LEGO construction vehicles. First off, let's start off with Muck. So Muck, as you can see, is not completed. At the moment, we can't really judge Muck. That's why I wanted to start him off, because we can just get him out of the way straight away. So I'll just get Muck into shot. As you can see, it's really not much. You can tell that that's Muck Stumper at the back, but there's not much to Muck because I haven't got enough pieces quite yet. We're ordering more parts later. But yeah, there is Muck, and we'll get Muck out of the way. Next, we'll check on Scoop. So Scoop had a couple of issues with him. So Scoop is actually the first one that we can actually do the pros and cons on. So Scoop, the pros of Scoop and what makes him so good is that he has a lot of functions, like his backhoe being able to swing back and forth. Like, I'll show you. That swings sideways, which you can tell that goes down, that goes up, and that curves down as well. And Scoop's bucket also connected to the arms, and yeah, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's basically Scoop. Now, the cons with Scoop is that driving him around used to be very difficult, but I fixed that issue. It's not as difficult to drive him around. I fixed the tires from scraping across the plastic, so now Scoop runs pretty smoothly. But the cons of Scoop is the loose bucket, well, loose, arm, and also this being super loose as well. So you can get zero posability out of Scoop's front. And I think that's really all the cons I can spot on Scoop. Yeah, if you think you can see more, then tell me down below in the comments. But yeah, I reckon Scoop looks pretty good. And luckily, that issue can be resolved later on in the future. I'll tell you what pieces I'll use later. That's Scoop. Next, we will talk about Lofty. Now, Lofty actually has had a new part added to him. And that is, you can see this black gear here. If I rotate this one, then look at that. Lofty's crane winch goes down. So you can wind that up and down, and that's a new feature added to Lofty that I have not shown off quite yet. So yeah, that's Lofty. So what makes Lofty so good is that Lofty has kind of steering. Lofty looks fairly accurate to Bob the Builder character that we saw on the show. Lofty has a gear that lowers and raises his crane, and of course the gear to lower and raise the hook, as well as being able to rotate back and forth. Now, the cons with Lofty is that Lofty doesn't have any blue wheels. Not really my fault, because LEGO hasn't quite done that yet. When eventually that happens, we'll do that. Lofty's eyes and mouth are way too high. They should be a lot more lower towards the bottom, but due to the fact there are limited pieces in LEGO, it's very difficult to do that. I've tried so many times, and I can't tell you how many times I've come so close to succeeding and then failing in the end. Either this doesn't reach the roof and there's like a tiny gap in between, and that really bugs me, or you try to put the eye down and then this piece just sticks out on the top of the eye and makes it look like it has an eyebrow. Man, it's really, really frustrating. And Lofty's crane being very, very, very thick, but I reckon I'm going to keep it like that for now, because the more functions, the better. I'm pretty sure you guys all know that. And yeah, and Lofty doesn't have his third hole on the side due to the fact of how I had to build it to get that accurate to Lofty. Other than that, I think Lofty's pretty good. So, that is Lofty done. Next up is a very, very small little Technic vehicle. And this vehicle is basically a truck that transports stuff. So I decided to add an extra feature, an opening door, because all you had to do was just remove a pin that held that in place, and then that could work as a functioning opening and closing door, which is cool. It's got nice steering with its gear. There's that. And of course, this back part, which would lift up and down, which is what these are for. Get that into shot. Like that. Of course, there'd be a dumper at the back, but I guess I lost it along the way. And that is a little Technic truck. Now, I should have mentioned, my Bob the Builder characters, of course, probably you should have known by now, they're all mocks. So, meaning my own creation, I designed them from scratch and they're not a set. Those are the key things to know about a mock. Now, this was one of LEGO's coolest cranes that they came out pretty late in the year. This one has a lot of features. You can extend the boom. The crane can go up by using a gear at the back. The winch, of course, can wind that whole crane down. And of course, you got your suspension or your supports that you go down like that. But unfortunately, these don't quite touch the ground when you're on a smooth surface. So it kind of defeats the purpose. So you can drive around completely normal with these on. And that defeats the entire purpose of what those are supposed to be. Those supports are supposed to stop the vehicle from moving whenever it's lifting heavy stuff. Without it, it'd be very, very dangerous. That's the LEGO City crane. Now we're coming down to our final view. This is a little crane that was an alternative build, but I decided it looked a little ugly, so I added a windscreen to the front. That helped a little bit. And so this one basically moves up and down, goes up and down like that. And yeah, basically it's kind of a normal crane. The downfall to this crane is that there's not as many features, but that is understandable. But for this size, honestly, it's not too bad. Not many true downfalls to this. Maybe you guys can spot some more downfalls in the comments below, but I reckon this is a pretty nice little crane. Forgot to do the cons on the other vehicles. The con for this one, yeah, once again, I don't really know what kind of cons. Maybe no suspension, but come on, let's be honest here, it's very small. Not going to be as easy to add suspension. I reckon they did a really good job. Maybe it has some cons, but you guys let me know down below in the comments. The cons, of course, most people would have spotted out, is a little hole inside of the cab. As you open it up, you'll see a little gap there, and that bugs people. So, oh, you got Emmett in there. Yeah, you can see a little hole in there, maybe. Probably not as good. Anything else? I don't think so. They did a really good job. Maybe the blue stained glass, or should have been like smoky black window glass, but that is just me being picky. That would have definitely helped to have made it look a little better, even better. So yeah, those are the cons of that crane. Here it is. This one was actually my first, well, one of my first big Technic sets that I ever got. I don't remember what year this one came out, but it was quite a while ago, as you can obviously know. And this one's just been sitting in my red cupboard most of its life. So yeah, this one has functions like you can turn that to steer it. You can do that, and that lowers. You can hold it there and pop it up. It goes down. There's another gear. Where was that gear located? Oh, yep. There's another gear right here. You turn it, and that. Oh, was it the other way? Oh, yeah. And it releases that red cube that you can take away with you. And that's basically all the functions that the mine loader has. I don't know if it's called a mine loader. I just like to call it a mine loader. I brought this to school when I was in grade 3-4. And I lost one of those parts. Luckily, I found it again, so that was a little bit of a close call. Now the cons with this one, 100%, it's the steering. You try to steer it in one place, it's very, very stiff and difficult. Maybe I might be the only one that has that issue, but as far as I can tell, the steering is not the easiest to work. There's a few functions in there that would have been nice to have. Honestly, I really do think this is a really good set. I took out the gear, unfortunately, to make that engine go up and down, because that gear's on lofty, believe it or not. Just had to do what I had to do. But yeah, that is the Technic Mine Ladder, or whatever it's called. Just like to call it a mine ladder. There you go. This one has a function that lifts up the crane, lifts up the boom. Wait, no, that's not lifting up the boom. That's to actually lift up the bucket. You can see that. And then I guess you'd... no, I don't think you should do that. Yeah, here it is. And that's to lift up the boom. That little gear. So this is a fun little set. It's a nice little Technic thing that you can add to your collection. The cons to it is, in my opinion, it's not the nicest looking vehicle. Like, if you've seen the real one, they do look a little nicer than this, but other than that, I'm actually pretty happy with this one. What makes it so good? Well, of course, the functions. It's a nice little set. I reckon they'll be very nice to have in your collection. And this one was probably sometime this year, or was it last year when this came out? I don't know. But yeah, this one's pretty new. There you go. A little bucket excavator. And then finally, the big excavator. The one that I'm pretty sure you guys all were interested straight away as soon as you saw it in shot. Now this bad boy has a lot of functions. It's it uses air to actually operate a lot of its controls, just like the real vehicle in real life. So the whole base rotates, but gets stopped due to the fact they don't want it to fully rotate 360. You can see these levers. They operate the crane, so you can flip that to put the crane up and down. And there's your little pump that you pump air into. You use this one to angle the boom. Like if I would do that. Okay, I'm gonna have to pump some air. There you go. No, you can't really see that, but you can see that is slowly lowering down because the bend up here, which you can't see because it's off camera. Sorry about that. But yeah, the bend, it bends down, as you can see. And of course, if you pop that gear the opposite direction, that boom or the crane will go back up. And finally, this one is to operate the little bucket. There's a gear at the back. You got your little suspension. Well, your things that hold it up above the ground. These actually work. And of course, the cab can go up and down. That is basically the excavator. Now, any pros or cons of this one? Oh, there's a lot of pros with this one. It's amazing, big, really cool functions. It's going to keep you occupied for a very, very long time. I don't really know if there's any cons with this. Maybe you guys may know some cons with this, but this looks really, really good. Like, I think this one's one of the best sets. Technic sets, probably not compared to the ones we've seen, but maybe suspension could have been something to be added, but like I said, that's going to be difficult, and it really doesn't really need that. So yeah, I reckon this set is really, really good. So there you go. That is my video on all the pros and cons of my LEGO construction vehicles. So I hope you guys have all enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys all next time. Bye!